Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Gossips. This is my recap for the anime Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. The story begins with a beautiful girl entering a school. As she walks in, all the students start greeting her, and some wonder if she is Alya. However, Alya ignores them and keeps walking. Then a handsome boy steps in front of her and says good morning. This time Alya replies with good morning. The boy introduces himself as Ando from the second year. He tells Alya that he heard a lot about her from her sister, so he has always wanted to meet her. He then asks if she would like to have lunch with him, but Alya quickly denies it. Ando laughs in shock and then asks if they can exchange phone numbers. But Alya responds that she's not interested in him. Ando is shocked, and his phone drops from his hand. As Alya walks away, she warns Ando that the necklace he's wearing is against the school rules. Everyone watches in shock since Ando is very popular among girls, but Alya rejected him so quickly. After that, Alya reaches her classroom and notices Kuze sleeping. She greets him with good morning, but when he does not reply, she kicks the table and wakes him up. Then Alya says good morning again and asks if he stayed up late last night watching anime. Kuze replies with good morning and admits that he did stay up late as he was watching anime until 1 am. He also mentions that he ended up discussing the anime's feedback for too long. Alya thinks he never learns from his mistakes, as he often sacrifices his sleep just to watch anime. Alya wonders if Kuze meant sharing feedback online, but Kuze shakes his head and says he called his otaku friends and chatted for 2 hours about the anime. Hearing this, Alya asks if he's a fool. Kuze confidently replies that maybe he is a fool for expressing his love for something he enjoys. Alya then apologizes but calls him a hopeless fool. Then Kuze compliments Alya, saying that she looks great today. Then he yawns, and when Alya looks at him, she calls him cute in Russian. He gives her a surprised look, and she asks, "What?" Kuze pretends not to know what she said and asks if she said something. To cover up, Alya says that she said he looks ugly. After that, Kuze asks Alya if he can take a look at her chemistry textbook. Alya wonders if he forgot his book again, and when he admits it, she agrees. Then Kuze moves his bench closer to Alya's. While the teacher is teaching, Kuze starts feeling sleepy. Suddenly, Alya hits him with her pen, which wakes him up in shock, and he raises his hand. The teacher misunderstands and asks Kuze to answer the question. Kuze stands up and tries to figure out what question they're on. And then he sees Alya pointing at something in her book. He quickly gives the answer, but the teacher says it's wrong. The teacher then asks Alya if she knows the answer, and Alya stands up and gives the correct one, which surprises Kuze. Then Kuze asks Alya not to give him the wrong answer again. But Alya replies that she was just pointing out the question, not the answer. Kuze reminds her that she was clearly pointing to number 2, but Alya denies it, calling it an awful accusation and giving a teasing laugh. Seeing this, Kuze angrily says that her eyes are smiling. Then Alya calls him cute in Russian again, which shocks Kuze, and he asks what she said. To cover up, Alya says she called him a fool. Alya calls him cute in Russian once more, and Kuze starts wondering why she keeps saying the same thing, and whether she even knows that he understands everything she's saying. Alya then says in Russian that he's blushing like a baby, and Kuze wonders who the baby is here. After that, Kuze remembers that he used to play with a Russian girl who lived near his grandpa's house, and that's how he learned enough Russian to understand most of it. However, he never expected to meet someone like Alya, the Russian beauty who sits next to him in class. He thinks that if he reveals to Alya that he understands Russian, she might faint from surprise, so he decides to keep it a secret. When the lecture ends, Kuze takes out his phone, but Alya reminds him that phones are only allowed in school for emergencies and educational purposes. He replies that he has an emergency. Alya asks what the emergency is. Kuze explains that the free card draw in his game will end in 10 minutes. Alya is surprised and asks how he dared to say that in front of a student council member. But then, Kuze suddenly gets excited and explains that the rare SSR Tsukuyomi card is available. Alya quickly snatches his phone to take a look. After seeing it, Alya asks if Tsukuyomi is the moon god in Japanese mythology and wonders why the character has silver hair instead of black. Kuze thinks maybe it's to match the moon. He then tells Alya not to worry about the details because Tsukuyomi is cute after all. Alya angrily hands his phone back, and then says in Russian that she also has silver hair and calls him a playboy. Kuze is shocked and asks what she just said. Alya covers up by saying she called him a game loser. Kuze tells her that it's rude to call him a game loser, especially after he spends so much money on games. Alya agrees and says she doesn't think anyone would want to be compared to him, which Kuze finds very harsh. In the cafeteria, Takeshi suddenly shouts that he wants to be popular. Then, another boy asks Kuze what he's eating. Kuze replies that it's extra spicy Mappo ramen. Suddenly, they notice that members of the student council Alisa, Maria, and Yuki are there. Kuze's friend says that Maria and the others are really beautiful. Takeshi agrees and says that Maria is beautiful and that he wants to get to know her. But Kuze jokes that even if she didn't have a boyfriend, Takeshi still wouldn't have a chance. After hearing this, Takeshi asks Kuze to shut up and not get cocky just because Alya is his friend. Takeshi is jealous that Kuze gets to call Alya by a nickname, but Kuze replies that all he does is annoy her. However, Takeshi still thinks it's great because Alya does not talk to anyone else. Meanwhile, Suou is looking for a place to sit and notices Kuze. So she goes to his table and asks if she can sit there. Kuze says he doesn't mind, and he asks his friends if they mind, and they agree too. Then Suou and Alya sit with them to have lunch. Suou notices that Kuze ordered the same thing as her. Takeshi is surprised and says he didn't know that Suou ate that kind of food. Suou replies that she does and mentions that she often goes out to eat ramen on weekends. After taking a bite, Suou finds the ramen delicious, but thinks it could be spicier. Kuze agrees and says it would be perfect with some chili oil. Then Suou jokes that they could bring up the topic of chili oil at the next student council meeting. But Kuze wonders how she can mix personal and public matters like that. Suou then says she is just kidding. Alya sees their interaction and asks if they are close. Suou tells her that she and Kuze are childhood friends and have been going to the same school since kindergarten. Then Kuze asks Suou if she and Alya are close. Suou replies that they are getting to know each other and then mentions that she wants to become friends with Alya. However, Alya says that if they became friends, Suou might not have fun. Suou then asks Alya if she would mind becoming her friend, and Alya replies that she doesn't mind. After that, Takeshi and the other friend leave the table. Then Suou gets close to Kuze and asks if he has thought about joining the student council. Kuze replies that he has no intention of joining. Suou reminds him that if he joins, he will get to work with her and Alya. Then Suou tells Alya that she was the president and Kuze was the vice president in the past. Kuze explains that he only joined because Suou asked him, as in their school, the student council president and vice president had to team up. So he had no choice but to help. After hearing this, Alya says that she has known about that for a long time in Russian, and then angrily drinks her soup. After Suou leaves, Alya tells Kuze that she is surprised to know that he has a female friend. Kuze wonders why she's surprised, and when Alya asks what he means, Kuze explains that she is also his female friend. Then Alya asks if they are friends, but Kuze questions back if they are not, and Alya replies yes, they are. Then she walks ahead. Kuze asks where she's going, and Alya informs him that she is heading to the student council room. Meanwhile, at night, Kuze dreams about a past moment when he was playing with a Russian girl. They watched the sunset and talked in Russian. But just as the girl is about to kiss him, he wakes up. He recalls how he studied Russian so hard because he wanted to talk to her, but now he does not even remember her name. The next day, Kuze goes to school early and cleans the classroom. When Alya arrives, he greets her with a good morning, and she responds the same. He explains that he woke up early and had nothing to do, so he decided to clean the classroom. Alya says that it must be a rare day since he woke up early. Kuze ignores the joke and compliments her on how good her Japanese is. Suddenly, Kuze notices Alya's dirty socks and asks what happened. Alya explains that they got wet from a splash caused by a passing truck, but she considers it her fault for walking too close to the road. She reassures him that it's okay since she has spare socks. Then she asks Kuze if he and Suou were both on the student council in middle school. When Kuze says yes, she asks if he is planning to join the student council now. Kuze gets curious about why she's asking, so he tries to avoid the question. However, Alya insists for an answer, and Kuze finally tells her that he's not planning to join the student council. After that, Alya suddenly takes off her socks, which surprises Kuze. He quickly tries to look away, but Alya notices and playfully asks him to bring her spare socks from her locker, mentioning that she can't walk since she's already taken her socks off. Kuze agrees and brings them for her. When he returns, Alya asks him to help her put the socks on. This shocks Kuze, and he questions why she is asking him to do it. Alya replies that it is a reward for him for bringing her socks. Kuze hesitates and says that such a request is usually reserved for a special group of people. Alya teases him by asking if he considers it a reward, and he reluctantly admits that he does. Then she quietly says that this is also a reward for her in Russian. After hearing this, Kuze wonders why Alya uses Russian to hide her true feelings, and thinks that she might be teasing him on purpose. Alya sees him confused and asks what's wrong. Kuze replies he was just thinking about what she said. Alya quickly covers up by saying that she called him a wimp, then tells him to forget it, and that she will put the socks on herself. But this time, Kuze gets serious and grabs her leg. As he starts putting the socks on her feet, his hand accidentally slips and touches a place that he shouldn't have. Alya gets shocked and kicks him in the face, and then walks away. After realizing he messed up, Kuze wonders what to do next. After some time, Kuze stops Alya, and she asks him what he wants. Kuze struggles to find the right words. Then Alya calls him a pervert with a foot fetish in Russian. Kuze asks if she can forgive him now. Alya replies that she's not angry anymore and even apologizes for kicking him. She asks if he's okay, and Kuze says yes, though she seems unsure and moves closer to check his neck. Kuze quickly steps back and insists that it doesn't hurt at all. Suddenly, he thanks her for showing him something good. Alya gets shocked and realizes that he might have seen her underwear. Kuze confirms this by thanking her again for showing him something so beautiful. Alya gets furious and punches him in the face. She then calls him a fool in Russian. To calm her down, Kuze asks her to take pity on his neck. He starts chasing after her and apologizes for going too far, but Alya angrily tells him to shut up and stop following her. Kuze suggests they sit and talk, but Alya replies that she has nothing to say. Then, she suddenly jumps over a wall, and Kuze realizes how athletic she is. After 10 minutes, both Kuze and Alya get tired, so they sit down to rest on some stairs. Kuze asks Alya if she's okay, and she replies that she would not be in this condition if he had not chased her. Kuze agrees and apologizes, but then Alya says it's her fault as well. Then, Kuze offers her a can of red bean soup. Alya suspiciously asks what he wants. Kuze sweetly replies that he hopes it can be a small token of his apology. Alya tells him not to be so dramatic, but takes the soup, mentioning that she's only accepting it because she's thirsty. Then, Alya asks in Russian if he wants a drink. Kuze is shocked and wonders if she means an indirect kiss, and if saying yes would mean he can kiss her indirectly. To avoid the situation, he pretends not to understand and asks her what she said. Alya quickly covers up by saying she meant that after exercising, they should drink something sweet. Kuze replies that usually people drink something cold after exercising. Alya then gives a playful smile and says in Russian that he doesn't know anything. But inside, Kuze is screaming that he understands everything. After a while, Kuze arrives at the supply room, and Suou gets happy to see him. When Kuze asks her why she called him there, Suou gets a bit upset and scolds him, saying that he should apologize for making her wait. Kuze does apologize, but in a teasing way, and Suou cutely admits that she was waiting for him. Just then, Alya arrives and says that they seem too close. Kuze gets surprised to see Alya, but Alya tells him that she was there the whole time and apologizes for bothering him. Kuze says it's okay, but thinks she's being a jerk. Then Kuze asks Suou if she wants him to tidy up the supply room, and she agrees. After seeing how well Kuze works, Suou praises him and says she knew he was good at this. She then asks him to bring down a board game from a high shelf, and Kuze brings it, and Suou thanks him. Kuze gets curious to see the card games, so Suou explains that they plan to use them at the school festival and that she played them at the recent student council party. When Kuze asks who won, Suou jokingly says she thought he would guess that she won. But then Alya interferes and tells them to go back to work. Suou apologizes and returns to work, but Alya starts feeling ignored, so she asks Kuze to pay attention to her in Russian. Kuze gets shocked, but Alya keeps insisting that he talk to her in Russian, which makes him more anxious. After they finish their work, both girls thank Kuze for his help. Just then, a senior student named Kanzaki, who is the president of the student council, arrives and asks if they are done. Suou says yes and mentions that Kuze helped them. Kanzaki compliments Kuze by mentioning that he has heard about his talents. Kuze thanks him and realizes that Kanzaki has a leader-like presence. As Kuze starts to leave, Kanzaki stops him and offers a treat to Kuze since he helped them. Kuze politely declines Kanzaki's offer and thanks him for the kindness. Suou then teases Kuze by reminding him that there's no dinner at home, so it's a good offer. Kanzaki asks Suou how she knows so much about Kuze's family, and she replies that it's because they are childhood friends. Kanzaki says that's perfect and invites Suou and Alya to join them. Both agree, but Kuze is a bit surprised. They all go to a restaurant, where Kanzaki praises them for finishing the work quickly. But Suou gives the credit to Kuze and then mentions that Kuze is amazing at both manual work and paperwork, and he is also good at negotiating. Kuze feels flattered but a bit embarrassed as well. Kanzaki points out that it's rare for Suou to praise someone and then asks Kuze to join the student council. Kuze apologizes and explains that he did not want to join because he had a hard time in middle school. Kanzaki tells him that while the workload in high school is heavier, it's worth the effort, and it could even help with his grades. However, Kuze thinks that he is not motivated or ambitious. Then Suou tells him to reconsider and join the student council with her, mentioning that they can run for the president post together. But Kuze declines and asks her not to force him. Then Kanzaki mentions that Alya is also planning to participate in the student council president election. Kuze is shocked and asks Alya if she is really participating. Alya confirms that she is and says that she is competing against Suou next year. After that, they finish their meal and leave the restaurant. Outside, all three thank Kanzaki for the meal. Kanzaki then says that he and Suou are going in the opposite direction, so he asks Kuze to walk with Alya. After Kanzaki and Suou leave, Alya tells Kuze that he doesn't have to walk with her, but Kuze insists, and they walk together. As they walk, Kuze asks Alya if she is really participating in the student council president election, and Alya confirms it. After that, they reach a spot where Alya thanks him for walking her home. They both then head to their own homes. When Kuze arrives at his apartment, he notices a pair of girls' shoes at the entrance. When he enters, Suou welcomes him. Kuze asks why she's there, and Suou replies that she's staying over for the night. Kuze reminds her that he didn't tell her that she could. Then Suou starts reading a novel where she reads about a hero and heroine walking together, and she guesses that they must be siblings. She wonders why the heroine didn't realize this. But then Kuze points out that Suou has no right to say that, since she's the one who insists on setting up childhood pals in school. Then Suou argues that it's not a setup and asks Kuze if he even knows what a childhood pal is. Kuze answers that it's someone who's been a friend since childhood. Suou quickly agrees and says that siblings are actually childhood friends. She says that childhood friends, otaku friends, or even real sisters can all coexist. But Kuze finds her logic ridiculous. Suou insists that it's just a metaphorical explanation. Then she looks back at the novel and says that the heroine and the man are actually siblings. Kuze agrees, but then Suou reveals that they kissed, which shocks Kuze. Suou thinks the novel is going to be a masterpiece, but Kuze suggests that logically, the hero and heroine must not be blood-related siblings. Suou grabs his neck and says that real siblings would make the story even better. The next morning, Suou wakes up Kuze by sitting on him and says, "Good morning, brother," but Kuze thinks that his morning is ruined because of her. Suou then tells him that this is a typical little sister's move of waking up her brother, and he should be happy about it. Kuze asks her not to wake him up like that and says it's just DV. Suou misunderstands that DV means Dear Venus, but Kuze corrects her, saying it means domestic violence. Hearing this, Suou calls him hopeless and teases that next time she will hide under his bed to grab his leg when he gets up. Kuze asks her what she wants and to get off. Suou teasingly asks if he has a boner, to which Kuze responds, "Go to hell." Later, they go to a mall and see a movie poster. Suou gets excited and suggests watching the movie, but Kuze refuses and tells her not to buy tickets without permission. They then go to a clothing store, where Suou checks out a dress. Kuze is shocked to see that the little dress costs 15,000 yuan. Suou explains that women's clothing often costs a lot for just a piece of fabric. Meanwhile, Alya is secretly watching them from behind. However, Suou has already noticed Alya. She informs Kuze that Alya appeared right after they came to this floor. Kuze is surprised that Alya has been following them for so long and mentions that he is impressed by Suou's observation skills. Suou says she has a high-performance sensor and can sense the gaze of someone she knows. But Kuze teases her by asking if she feels embarrassed while saying that, and surprisingly, Suou confidently admits she is. As Kuze is thinking about what to do next, he realizes that Suou has already approached Alya. They both go over to Alya, who is still in a hiding position and feels anxious when she sees them. Kuze greets her, saying, "What a coincidence." Then Alya steps out and replies that it really is a coincidence. She explains that she just noticed them, but could not find the right moment to talk to them. Suou asks Alya what brings her to the mall, and Alya replies that she's there to buy some clothes. Suou then asks if Alya has had lunch, to which Alya denies. Suou invites her to join them for lunch, but this surprises Kuze. He asks Suou if she is really planning to take Alya to that place. Suou asks why she shouldn't. Kuze suggests that if Alya is coming along, they should eat somewhere else. Alya asks Kuze what the problem is, but he stays silent. Then Suou asks Alya if she likes spicy food, and Alya replies that she likes it. Suou explains that they are going to a restaurant that specializes in making extra spicy ramen and invites Alya to join them if she doesn't mind spicy food. Kuze warns Alya that it's not just spicy but extremely spicy, but Alya quickly agrees to go. When they arrive at the restaurant, Alya is shocked to see that the restaurant is named Hell's Cauldron. She wonders if it's really for ramen, but Suou assures her that it is and encourages her to go inside. Kuze warns Alya again not to go in, but Alya questions back why not. Inside the restaurant, Alya looks at the menu and is confused by the dish names. Then Suou explains that Blood Pond Hell is the basic ramen with a red soup base, and is also the least spicy option. Alya asks about Infinite Hell. Suou tells her that it's so spicy that it will make her feel numb. Kuze decides to order Blood Pond Hell as it's better to start with something basic, and both girls show interest in ordering the same. While waiting for their ramen, Alya notices Suou's clothes and asks why she's dressed in a boyish style. Suou explains that it's a holiday, so she's trying out a new style. Then, Suou teases Alya by saying that she was lying in bed with Kuze. Kuze gets shocked, and Alya wonders if they were lying in bed together. Suou says yes and mentions that she wanted to wear something different, so Kuze lent her his shirt. Alya is shocked and asks Kuze what's going on. Kuze quickly clarifies that it's not like that. He explains that Suou just walked into his house, went into his room without asking, and then climbed into his bed. But Alya finds it hard to believe. Just then, a waiter arrives and serves them their ramen. Alya is shocked when she sees the Blood Pond Hell ramen. Suou suggests they start eating before it gets cold, and Alya nervously agrees. She stares at the ramen with fear, but quickly grabs her chopsticks and takes a bite. Almost immediately, she feels the intense spiciness. Seeing her reaction, Kuze asks if she's okay, but Alya lies and says it's delicious. They keep eating, but after a while, Alya mutters in Russian that her mouth is hurting. Kuze tells her not to force herself to eat more, but Alya insists that it's delicious, even though Kuze knows she's in pain. Then Alya says in Russian that she can't eat anymore. Kuze is about to stop her, but Suou interrupts and asks Alya if she's enjoying the meal. Alya says yes and claims it's delicious. Then Suou offers Alya to add some demon's tears to her ramen to make it even spicier. Suddenly, Kuze notices Suou's expression, and he instantly realizes that she is doing this on purpose. Alya agrees to add demon's tears, but Kuze warns her not to. However, Alya insists that just one drop will not hurt. She adds a drop of demon's tears to her ramen, but as soon as she takes a bite, the intense spiciness overwhelms her, and she screams loudly. Later, they go outside to a nearby park, where Kuze asks Alya if she's okay, but Alya asks where Suou is. Kuze explains that Suou wanted to buy something, so she ran off. Then Kuze notices an ice cream truck nearby and asks Alya if she would like some. Alya instantly agrees, and after eating the ice cream, she feels much better. Kuze then asks Alya why she wants to run for student council president. Alya replies that if there's room for improvement, she feels she has to go for it. Kuze asks if she has found someone to team up with, but Alya says she doesn't need a vice president. But then Kuze reminds her that she will need someone, as it's required. Alya replies that she will find someone when the time comes. She then expresses in Russian that she wants Kuze to join her. Hearing this, Kuze recalls a moment from the past. After eating ice cream, Alya asks Kuze if he has any plans. He says he doesn't. Then she asks about Suou, and Kuze replies that they can meet her later. Alya then asks if he can go shopping with her. Kuze asks if she's planning to buy clothes, and Alya agrees. Then Kuze tells her that letting a guy choose clothes for a girl is something couples usually do. However, he instantly realizes that since Alya doesn't have friends to go shopping with, she might not know this. After thinking about it, Kuze agrees to go with her. Alya asks why he changed his mind, and Kuze says they are friends after all. but Alya feels like something isn't right. Then they go to a clothing store, and while looking at dresses, Alya wonders why Kuze is being so nice to her. She starts to think that maybe he is being kind because he doesn't believe that she can become the student council president. This thought angers Alya, so she fills a bucket with clothes to try on. She goes into the changing room and tells Kuze to let her know what he thinks of each outfit. Inside, she decides to do her best to make Kuze blush. She tries on a dress and shows it to Kuze. He praises her and even calls her cute. Alya is shocked and realizes that she just received a compliment. However, Kuze feels embarrassed and wonders how he can say these things so confidently. Inside, Alya gets excited because Kuze called her cute. She is impressed and starts trying on more dresses, including a boyish style, just to see Kuze's reaction. Each time, Kuze compliments her, which makes Alya even more excited. Finally, Alya puts on a bold dress, but when she opens the curtain to show Kuze, she is shocked and embarrassed to see Suou standing there. Suou is also surprised by Alya's bold outfit. Alya closes the curtain and says in Russian that she wants to disappear. Suou gets curious and asks what she said. Kuze explains that Alya said she wanted to disappear. After that, they get on the train, and Alya is still shocked by what happened earlier. When Kuze stands up to leave, Suou tells Alya that she had fun shopping with her and suggests that they should go again sometime. Then Kuze and Suou get off at the station. As the train continues, Alya starts thinking about the dress incident, but suddenly realizes that Kuze and Suou got off at the same stop. She is shocked and wonders what that could mean. And that's the end of the video. Please comment and let me know if you want a recap of the next episode of this anime. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.